Hi, welcome back to Learn Payload with Colin. Today I'm going to be going over something important that I found helpful. I was doing a video on custom components and I ran into some issues, and so I can't publish that video yet until I've completed it. And so I thought maybe I would do a video real quick on how I solved an issue using the support resources available for Payload CMS, and in particular the Discord community. So I was creating a custom field and for a slug text input, and I followed their directions exactly, and I kept getting these errors and I couldn't figure out why. And if you let me show you some code here. So this is copied right from their resources, their Git repo for example custom fields. So it's basically, this is probably what they use internally to render fields, and so this is just a custom version of that. And so I have a config here. I'll go over this in a different video, so don't worry about that. But so I'm basically saying I want a slug field and with custom components. And so we have this slug field and slug label, and everything looks pretty clean. I'm doing everything exactly like they explained in the repo, in the example repo. I'll leave a link in the description to that for custom fields. But yeah, so I have this slug field, and it uses a custom component. So everything was working, everything's clean. And then I went to go try to render the admin page for that, and I get this error, type error, cannot destructure property config. And it seemed like no matter what I did, any examples that that were available on the web. So if you do a Google search for, custom components or even slug. So there are many examples of creating slug fields in Payload, and every single one of them, I would implement, and I would always end up with this error, and I was like, what am I doing wrong? It's really frustrating. And so I was like, okay, this is weird. This is too weird. So I went to, if you go over to learn, if you go to the Payload, go over to Payload, and then you go to developers, here's the Discord link. Community help might help work as well, but I went to Discord, and so what I did is I just pasted in this error, cannot destructure property, and sure enough, this is a very common issue. And in this particular issue, they explained that I probably have two different versions of Payload UI running, and you can determine that by running this command. If you're using pnpm, you can determine that by running, where is it? Let's see. Yeah, so the solution is try to delete your node modules and your lock file and then reinstall. You may have two copies of Payload CMS UI installed, which is why use config is returning undefined. You can also run pnpm-y Payload CMS UI to see if there are two different versions running. So let me run that. And go over here. And sure enough, Yes, I do have, I am running two different versions. So, and the reason why there are two different versions is because the payload admin uses that internally, uses this Payload CMS /UI library internally. Like, you don't actually need to install it because it's a dependency within Payload. But if you're creating custom components and you want to grab certain hooks or components out of Payload using that library, well, you have to also install that library yourself. And so that's why I have two different versions. I have a version of Payload CMS Next, which is the core 3.20, version 3.20, and they install a version called Payload CMS UI, also 3.20. But when I looked at the documentation, I installed Payload a couple weeks earlier than when I installed this UI library. And so you can see I'm already on a different version, and I'm betting that's the reason for the error. And so if I were to update, either roll this back to 3.20 or upgrade my Next to be 3.21, either of those solutions would probably work. I'm not exactly sure what to expect if I upgrade to 3.21, and so I'm 99% sure that's probably okay, but just for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to downgrade my Payload UI down to 3.20, and according to the Discord post, this should solve the problem. So if I were to do pnpm and then we'll do at 3.20. All right, now we can run that Y command again, and it looks like we're all using the same version. Now if I rerun the server, and head on over back to the admin panel, I'm hoping that this solves the issue. Head on over back, reload this. It's loading. And it did resolve the issue. Here's my slug field. So yes, that actually corrected the issue. This slug field isn't doing anything special right now. It's just a raw, stubbed out custom field, but it is no longer breaking. And so in my next video, I'm going to now be able to move forward on my custom fields video. So I just wanted to do a video real quick on community resources and where you can get help, and the Discord server in particular has been really helpful. And so yeah, if you're having any issues, be sure to check out the Discord, and that's it. So we'll see you in the next one. Thanks.